So it's not evil. It simply means that that geometry prevents charge from being distributed. That's why the beehive stores the honey in a hex. All hex geometry isolates charge. Very useful in certain environments. In your house where you want secrets and privacy, a square, a cube, a hex is very good. But in all architecture and geometry and architecture of life, when you use the opposite, which is the pent golden ratio geometry, there you get charge distribution. No secrets, perfect sharing, effective distribution of the divine. So this is the problem of Einstein and modern physics, is they don't know this. That makes them stupid, honestly. Because when you know this, you now know the geometry of perfect compression. This perfect wave interference is perfect compression. And perfect compression, as Einstein well stated, is the solution to the unified field. And now I'm going to show you how. Well, first, you know, in the 3D animation of this, remember, we got two pine cones, like two lasers approaching from opposite direction, and the two pine cones kiss, and the plasma between them creates a zone in the plasma which is becoming centripetal. This is the part of your brain when you feel bliss, or the part of your body when you feel bliss, that starts to spit out mucus and self-organize and get young again. It's literally the solution to immortality, quite literally. The title of our book. Implosion, Secret Science of Ecstasy and Immortality. Yes? So we're talking about what's happening in the plasma in the center between the two pine cones. That's what we're discussing at this moment, which is the cause of all self-organizing forces and the only subject of this morning. So, two pine cones meet, they cross right here, and this is the top-down view of the plasma where the two pine cones are getting screwed. And it's literally a screwing motion. And there's a certain handed direction to this as well. One side's more centripetal, the other side's more centrifugal. It's the key to yin and yang. So here's what the top-down view of that plasma looks like. We've looked at this many ways. Now, here's the core. This is why it becomes centripetal. Why implosion exists, and therefore gravity and consciousness and life. When the waves meet, only the Goldman ratio allows them to add and multiply recursively constructively. It's called heterodynamic, recursive wave interference. And when they add and multiply constructively infinitely, they add and multiply not just the wave length, but also the wave velocity. I repeat, they add and multiply the wave velocity. In physics, it's called the phase velocity. That means that part of the charge that's in rotation, that's experiencing compression, part of the charge is experiencing the adding and multiplying of the wave's speed, and that's called acceleration. So some of the charge during compression experienced acceleration. In physics, that's called gravity. Any questions? So the reason gravity exists, remember this is a top-down picture of hydrogen, for example, as well as DNA. And DNA, we know, makes little black holes. Peter Garrioff measured DNA, the little gravity-making black hole engine. Here's the top-down view. Part of the charge is adding and multiplying the phase velocity by Golden ratio, and so there is an increase in speed of a portion of that charge accelerated through the speed of light at the center by multiples of the Golden mean ratio times the speed of light. Where did the charge go? It went down a wormhole through the speed of light. And we know that Professor Chow has measured Golden mean multiples times the speed of light. That's proof of this theorem, that where the charge went is Golden mean ratio multiples times the speed of light, and those wormholes is where the charge goes in gravity. And that's why the charge has to go somewhere from the Earth to the sun and out. And when the moon gets in the way, it gets messy, actually. But we'll go there later. Well, it explains why the universe is dodecahedral, because it needed Goldman ratio to make gravity. It explains why the universe is fractal, but in that view that the expansion of the universe would stop if it got fractal enough. So actually, I think the universe expanding model fails to understand the fractality in time. And I agree with the Dwayne Elgin theory of continuous creation and Arthur Young reflexive universe, that instead of seeing the biggest Big Bang, they kind of see a continuous donut thing, where the shape of the universe is a saddle shape on a donut, based on a dodeca. That's right. Implosion solves the explosion. Yes?
The other way of looking at it, again, type of the Smiley-Wilson and Nelson parameter, is that you've got two directions for those.
Yes,
There's
that's right.
the implosion
That's right.
going into a black hole, which is, you know,
This is
other
halfway
dimension.
between two topics. Right, yes.
And you've got stuff coming out of the black hole, which is creating the expanding universe.
And yes. The in-breath matching the out-breath, yes. And the lasers have to perfectly match or they don't conjugate. So that's the in-breath and the out-breath. The centripetal and centrifugal match. And if this is their match, you will get centripetal force, and that causes gravity and all self-organization. And that's what we call consciousness. Consciousness means, if you dissect the term, con with shus, S-T-I-O-U-S, with turning inside out ness. And this is that. See? Which in the Vedas is called the ability to self-refer, defining consciousness, which we now know in physics. The definition of the golden mean spiral, optimized translation of vorticity, means the only angle of non-destructive self-reentry, thus defining self-awareness.
That's why you always have two explosions and generally, except for this area, explosions regarded as negative.
That's right. That's right. When you start talking about implosion, it's time to think, oh no, we don't want to implode that building. But they don't understand non-destructive compression, where something more coherent comes out than went in. You see, the other physics of this is that in that center of that plasma, the implosive process means every wave that doesn't fit this nest is canceled when it gets to the compression maximum. Actually, the diameter of the radii here is related to Planck's length and the fine structure constant, the center of the donut, as it were. The acceleration point through the speed of light called making the L, or phase shift, Elohim, translation of vorticity optimized from the circle to the line, which is how you go from mass to energy, where mass is defined as rotating charge, and the energy is defined as the linear motion of that same charge after it makes the golden mean spiral, which is hydrodynamics definition of golden mean spiral, optimized translation of vorticity from the circle to the line, the L. The psychology of this